Thank you, and welcome everyone to the Economic and Cultural Development Committee, the 18th of November. In attendance today, we've got a full house, which is Councillor Madsen, Deputy Mayor Johnnick, Mayor Harding, Councillor Doyle. Oh, not a full house. Councillor Antonelli's not in at this present time. Councillor Martin and Councillor Madden, thank you. I haven't got an apology, but I'm sure Councillor Antonelli will be in a minute. I'll hand over to Councillor Doyle for the acknowledgement of country.
Thank you, Chair. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land and waters we share. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, customs, cultures and stories of proud people.
Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Councillors, has anyone got any declarations on the agenda today? No, haven't heard of anything. There's nil business outstanding. So we move to the confirmation of minutes. Has anyone got any questions of those minutes? No. Can I have a mover for those? Thank you, Councillor Doyle, and second by Councillor Martin. Any discussion on that? No. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's unanimous of those in the room, noting that Councillor Antonelli's not in just yet. So now we'll move over to onto the officer's report, and the first one is the Economic Development Incentive Policy. Does anyone got questions on that? I do. I just would like the officer to come up. Gemma? Hello. You can just state your name and your title.
Gemma Rippin, Economic Policy and Strategy Lead.
Thank you. I just would like, if we can just have a quick brief overview of what do you think the difference is from the 2000, because it's been quite a while,
yep.
2015 to now 2025, the incentive policy now.
Yeah, so the key changes between the two policies is since 2015, we've actually changed the policy template. So we're bringing it in line with the new template. We've also got our economic development strategy, which was adopted in 2023. So we've brought it in line to reflect the strategy. Also clarified the incentives available. And the other key change is introducing the concept of a contestable site. So that is that any applicant is looking outside of the Ipswich local government area as well.
Oh, okay. And I'm just trying to, in the report, can you just give me what it actually is meant when it says a regional economic cluster? What's the cluster?
So regional economic cluster is in line with the South East Queensland Regional Plan. So that's just aligning with the regional plan and also our planning scheme, and it recognises where we have a lot of our economic generators.
Yeah, great. All right, those are my only questions. Anyone else got any more questions? No? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so that's just to endorse that new incentive policy. Do I have a mover for that policy? Thank you, Mayor Harding. Second by Councillor Doyle. Discussion?
Thank you, Chair. With this new economic development incentive policy, businesses must demonstrate commercial viability, proven capability and compliance with all levels of government. They must show real economic benefits, whether they are creating at least 20 ongoing local jobs, delivering $20 million worth in capital investment or strengthening supply chains or building regional clusters. We can target projects that will genuinely transform Ipswich by ensuring every incentive we provide delivers a measurable benefit for our community, and we owe that to our residents. The updated framework introduces flexible tools including concierge services, fast-tracked applications, fee relief, tailored financial support, and to remove barriers to investment. So this ensures that council is not just a regulator but a proactive partner in development, so we can attract that investment that we do need here to create jobs and continue to grow our economy. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Madsen.
Thank you, Chair. I like the policy and I think it's a great update. I just wanted to share my views with the committee, I guess, that I think we need to look at how we make sure that it's actually being used, and we probably review it a bit more proactively. If you've got an incentive thing there and nobody takes it up, it's just obviously then we should review it and see what happens. Otherwise, it's not achieving the objectives that we want. So I'll plant the seed. I think that together we can sort of, as an ongoing basis, just be more cognizant of this policy and trying to make sure that it's utilised moving forward.
Yeah, totally agree. It's like if a tree falls over in the forest and there's no one there to see who did the tree fall.
I was going to do a version of that joke, but thought it was anyway. Thank you for doing it for me.
I went there. Anyone else? Deputy Mayor John.
Thanks, Chair. I agree. I think it's fantastic that we're updating it, and maybe that it be measured going forward so we can see when it's actually been implemented or not. Like I know because of the concierge services that are included there, that was already happening in council for a number of projects. So you could actually say that it has been active to a certain extent, and that's not the actual financial incentive side, but the human contact and concierge side. So we just haven't measured it, I guess. So, yeah. But yeah, love it. Love that it's getting updated, and great things hopefully will come from here.
Yeah, I do know that the team, Mr. Heenan and his team, have worked really hard in this space to ensure that we're hitting the right incentives by also looking at other councils to see what they're doing as well. So, really excited to see how we can bring this forward, especially when we've got lots of, commercial land. We've got the most available in Southeast Queensland. Maybe this is a little bit of an enticement to bring more investment to us. So thank you. If there's no other comments, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? And that's unanimous in the room. So we'll move on to item 3, which is the 2025 Christmas in Ipswich program preview. Does anyone have questions for? Thank you, Councillor Martin. Can we have the relevant officer up? Thank you. Just state your
Good
name and your
afternoon,
title.
Carly Gregory, Manager of Marketing and Promotions.
Afternoon, Carly. I note, looking at our promotion and the memorabilia, everything we have, we've got presents, we've got candy canes, we've got 2 soldiers, I don't know what they are. Things are in red and green. We even have a wreath.
Nutcrackers.
Is that what they are?
Nutcrackers. Where's your Christmas spirit,
Well,
Councillor Martin?
this is my... I'm just... Well, funny enough, no. So I'm just coming to my question. Yeah, so apart from me, everybody knows what Nutcracker is. There's no nativity scene, and I've been asked a lot by residents, what's happened to the reason for the season?
Absolutely. I suppose for everything that we do in terms of a citywide festival, we try and make it as inclusive as possible, and everyone has different views on that. I've read social commentary over the years about what that looks like. It's not intentional to leave it out. I suppose we're just making things, a light show, quite generic, those kind of installations, Christmas themes that go with our branding, I suppose. I would say there are actually some activations in our program this year, like Glebe Road Uniting Church, that I'm assuming will actually have a nativity scene, given that they're doing a light activation over multiple nights and those kind of things. We can take it on notice in terms of future designs, if, council gives me some direction in that space.
Councillor
could I
Antonelli,
follow
through
on
me.
from that request?
Through me.
Through you? I was
Yeah,
just looking,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because Mayor Harding also had a thing on. So
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just following on from specifically what Councillor Martin said. You mentioned, through the chair, which the church was doing what, sorry?
Yeah, so in the Christmas in Ipswich program, as you know, there's 40 plus events, I think, in this program and more online. When I was going through all the listings, I did notice that we absolutely know Christmas is a time for churches and that celebration, the reason for the season, like you said. But I did notice that Glebe Road Uniting Church this year is doing a light activation, so a light installation. I haven't been to it, I haven't seen it, but reading the description, yeah, I do remember what some other churches have done in previous years. So I was thinking that might be more in what some of the feedback has been around.
Okay. Another question? No one's got a green light on? No.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a recommendation. We have some nativity scene or something in our display in town. As I said, I fielded a lot of questions from people.
Just a point of order, that's probably coming up in discussion, as opposed to a question.
Oh, sorry.
We have a
Okay.
council officer.
That's
I'll
fine.
identify
Okay,
Chair.
thank you.
Thanks, May.
I've got a question.
Yep, thank you, Councillor Madden.
Thanks, Carly. I'm just going through the list and just checking what's on, and I notice Tivoli Drive-In's not mentioned. Is that not going to happen this
So
year?
again, the printed program, I should say, is like a highlights reel.
Okay.
Always after that date, some other people come in
can
and
be.
say, and
Yeah.
so we add that to the website. So
Okay.
there's a lot more than that it is in this printed program that's on the website now. Tivoli is not doing a Christmas event. It is doing a New Year's Eve event.
Oh, okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that, because I get asked all the time.
They did. They changed their mind at the 11th hour. So yes, there is some council support for the New Year's Eve event. It won't need to come to council because it's of a lower value.
Good. Thanks very much for clarifying that, because I keep getting asked
It does
questions.
change every year, that's right. We've been fielding some questions too where people say, I see this as new, but I can't see this. So yes, we're trying to share where we can.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Any more questions? Councillor Antonelli?
Yes, sorry, if I may. Just going through the report, I note on page 31, mentions fireworks. Doesn't say, it obviously in relation to New Year's, doesn't say specifically who's organising or coordinating that.
Yeah, so council is coordinating fireworks in every division across the city. On the website, we have listed the exact locations. So in Ipswich Central, Div 3, it would be in Limestone Park. It's at the Springfield Sporting Grounds, that's correct. Ripley, Ironbark, that's right, that's just been confirmed. They were waiting on a new park, and in Rosewood at the showgrounds.
So they'll just be set off, will they? There's no event?
We do not. No, we do 9 p.m. fireworks, have done for quite a few years now. Yeah.
At least 5 years.
Yeah, I think longer than that. As you can imagine, councillor, when we had COVID, we couldn't do mass gatherings, and so instead we moved to having fireworks in each division that were people could see from their own backyards or in areas where there was space that they didn't have to gather. That was really popular, and we've continued with that since COVID.
And obviously we do a letterbox drop around these places to advise them
We
or
do
something.
all the necessary precautions, absolutely. Those kind of things, everything that we're required to do as council, but we also will do things with the media team on social, reminding people that it's coming and of pets and those kind of things. Yes, absolutely.
Fair enough. The next question I had is, what budget have we put aside for the Christmas in Ipswich?
Yeah, it's a few $100,000 for the Christmas in Ipswich program. The majority of that obviously is around the light installation that goes for those 10 nights here, which turns Nicholas Street Precinct into St Nicholas Precinct.
I know you've given a round figure. Can we get the figure for the actual?
Yep, and I'll put it in
Council
future
Day?
reports. Yes, thank you.
And the other thing I was going to ask, I note that we do have some commercial sponsorship.
We do.
Which is good.
It's fabulous.
So what has been the injection of that to the budget? How
Again,
much has that added up
can
to?
I take that on notice and bring it back the exact dollar figure?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to have a guess. I have a guess in my mind, but that would be remiss of me
fair
to
enough.
do that. But yeah, we have wonderful commercial sponsors. I know I've spoken to all the divisions. They're great sponsors across the city for all of these events, and we would not be able to put on the quality and scope of events that we do without those commercial sponsors.
No, very good. Thank you.
Through the chair, so there's 4 regions, so 4 sets of fireworks.
4 divisions, 1 in each division.
So
That's right.
just so that there's no, how would you say, questions, so Springfield is the same as Rosewood, the same as Limestone Park, same as Ripley?
They are full equal in time. We try and do them all exactly the same time. So we use the same supplier.
Yeah.
There's no extra in any
You
division.
know the questions we get.
No, we do. And we really, we have trialled different locations in some of those divisions. So Div 4 used to be at Tivoli. We did it at Rosewood a few years ago. Then we moved it back and people were like, where are our fireworks? So we've moved it back. Obviously that changes sometimes as the development of parks and areas, but we just try and have places where we can get the most people. And also sometimes we have had groups come to us and run activations, to Councillor Antonelli's earlier question, you know, nearby, which is a really nice way to bring it all together.
Thank you. Right. Thank you for all those questions. Can I have a mover for, thank you, Councillor Doyle. Second, thank you, Mayor Harding. Discussion, I'll open the floor. Thank you, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the organisation for developing another epic Christmas in Ipswich program. Just in relation to the New Year's fireworks, we have discussed over the years post-COVID whether or not it was, you know, appropriate or viable to do an activation alongside the fireworks. Certainly within Division 3, it's been at Limestone Park. You know, when we're spending so much money on activations over Christmas and New Year, we can't do everything. And I've been delighted to see the way Limestone Park grows in size. The amount of people that go up there with a picnic blanket and the kids, no activation needed. It's a huge crowd. So looking forward to that, as well as all the exciting events that are on. And just a quick shout out to a couple of the sponsors that are from Division 3, being Mortgage Choice and Strud. And Ray White. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Harding.
Thank you, Chair. I think Christmas in Ipswich is a powerful example of how a strong city events program enriches our community and our economy. And just to give, because I think Councillor Martin will probably be raising something, and I say this as a Christian woman, we do have to be aware that we have to run a secular government as well. And so we need to make sure that we address that Christmas, but also not shove things down people's throat as well. And I just note that Council is sponsoring and supporting 8 different carol events, which usually do have nativity scenes and other things like that as well. So I think it's really important that we, you know, walk that tightrope and making sure that there is respect and, I guess, inclusivity of everyone. Last year we had over 80,000 people attend Christmas in Ipswich, bringing locals and visitors together to share this festival celebration, and I'm quite sure we will exceed that number this year. Council's Christmas program features more than 50 events, from the magical St Nicholas Precinct light display to carols, to markets, New Year's Eve fireworks, and they're all designed to bring people together, to engage people, showcase our city, and also hopefully support our local businesses as well, and our local church communities and other community groups. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else?
Yeah, is it possible to ask a question about just having a nativity scene somewhere in our paraphernalia? Notwithstanding, we're talking a nativity scene.
The program's already been printed, so maybe for 2026, if you want to have a discussion.
Are you
Might be able to take it
asking
on
for a
notice
nativity scene in Tolmer Place?
Your mic,
If you
Councillor
want
Martin.
one, then when the motion's moved.
Oh, your
we
mic
could.
wasn't on for a second. Sorry. Oh,
Sorry.
that's on now. It keeps going back to. So sorry. What was those whispers?
Through
Go,
you,
Councillor
through you,
Doyle.
Chair, I think the discussion was around potentially amending the recommendation today, but the program has been developed and the graphics have been developed. So
This is really, so Chair, we're just having a lot of side conversations.
Yeah,
It's
I know,
really
without
hard. I
the
don't know how
mic.
you do this as a chair, but it's really hard to follow what's being said when we're having 3 side conversations here.
well, I'm
Sorry,
trying-
Councillor
sorry.
Doyle, you've got the floor.
Chair, I was just trying to speak to Councillor Martin's desire to incorporate a nativity scene at some point, and I think there's obviously the opportunity for next year, as the program's developed, that we have a really good look at where it would be appropriate and incorporate.
Yeah, I think we're, again, at the 12th, not even the 11th hour, 12th hour, because we've printed stuff, we've already got programs all set in place, but I think it would be more advisable to look at it for next year's program, to put a nativity scene in, because we've set everything in motion.
One of the things, Chair, I think I heard Councillor Martin say was it possible to have a nativity scene in the St Nicholas precinct this year? So that's nothing to do with the program. Is it possible to ask council officers if that's possible? If that's
Yeah, we'll
that's what
can
you
we
were-
take that on notice and get it back, come back to you on that? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So pursuant to conversation moving forward for next year, yeah, I'd like to have potentially a nativity scene. So that would be discussion, yeah.
All right, we'll come back to you. We'll take that on board and come back to you, Councillor Martin. Yeah, awesome. Councillor Antonelli, did you have your mic on a second ago? No, we're good? All right, so the only thing that I wanted to contribute is that everything that everyone has said, but also I know that people down in Brisbane, they look at us as their main contenders with the Christmas offerings we've got. So I think we actually are doing an amazing job, and the officers and Ms Gregory's team should be commended on what they actually deliver for our city. It's a time of joy and hope, and I think that's what they put on. I think it's an amazing time of the year, and I'm going to be enjoying all of the festive opportunities there is that are on offer. Also want to say thank you to Ms Gregory for actually giving us a list of all of our sponsors, so we can actually, if we choose to, actually touch base with them, because in any sort of organisation, sponsors are very important to the operation of our bottom line. So, yeah, thank you so much for doing that. All right, so we've got nothing else. We'll put that to the vote. All those in favour of adopting this report, that's everyone. That's unanimous and carried. Thank you so much. So we'll move on to item 4, which is the 2024-25 Community and Cultural Services Report Card, Arts and Culture. Do we have any questions? I don't even know if is there someone even in the room to ask questions? Is there? Okay. Oh, I've got no questions. Has anyone got any questions? No? Can I have a mover for that report? Thank you, Mayor Harding, second by Councillor Doyle. Discussion?
Thank you, Chair. Look, over the past year, Council has delivered more than 3,800 creative and cultural activations, attracting over 120,000 visitors across those exhibitions, performances and community events, with 95% of these attendees rating their experience as very good or excellent. We also celebrated some milestone anniversaries this year as well, including the Ipswich Civic Centre's 50th, which was, you and I were there, Chair, at that big celebration. It was a beautiful, and I think, Councillor Donnell, I think you were there as well, at the 50th for the Civic Centre. It was a really great night. The Ipswich Art Gallery's 25th birthday was this year, reflecting our city's rich cultural heritage. And obviously in this year too, we had the 25th year for the Ipswich Art Awards as well. Highlights included securing $3.8 million in federal funding through the Urban Precincts and Partnerships program to drive urban renewal, hosting works from the National Gallery of Australia alongside Ipswich-born ceramicist Gwyn Hanson-Piggott, and supporting more than 1,700 local artists and creatives through programs like Articulate and the Ipswich Art Awards. So I think really importantly too, 125 First Nation artists were engaged and supported, with more than 10,000 people attending the First Nations cultural events in our city as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Thanks, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to support the Mayor's comments regarding the program that we've delivered over the last 12 months. It's such an important area within our community, arts and culture. We have a very large going, thriving arts community here in Ipswich. As the mother of a son who's graduated from the fine arts and in the performing arts industry, as an actor, we know that arts and culture is intrinsically linked to thriving communities and good well-being within communities. Performing arts is being used to deliver really important messaging, communications and educations. It's being rolled out all across Australia, and the arts is being used to deliver that important messaging. So the more that we do here in our community to support that space, I think leads to a happier community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. I was going to, say the same thing, Mayor. Thanks for saying all of those highlights. The 50th was really a good event where it was like a little bit of a nightclub, and out in the car park of the Civic Centre. So I thought that was, everyone raved about it, and we also have 810,000 on the table for SEQ's City Public Art Initiative as well. That's still in the pipelines. And we've had artworks from the National Gallery of Australia, the Martha Rothko piece that's worth millions of dollars. I just couldn't believe that we had that in our gallery. So we definitely are putting things in place. We talk about the Olympic Games, and the Olympic Games is not just about the execution of sport. It's also about the other things that can happen as well. And so for us, I think we're in a good place to be able to have the Arts at Olympiad with our offerings that we've got on the table. So I think that's also what our arts community can look forward to as well. So thank you for the officers that have put this report together. It was actually quite in-depth and a lot of knowledge and highlights in that package. So thank you very much. So I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour of adopting this report. Councillor Martin, how do you vote? Yep, that's affirmative. That's unanimous. So we'll move on to item 5, which is the report of the Advocacy Advisory Committee, number 3, that was held on the 15th of October. Any questions? No, I'll hand over. Move Mayor Harding, second by Councillor Madden. Discussion? I'll hand over to you, Mayor Harding.
Thank you, Chair. It was quite an interactive advisory committee meeting. There was a lot of discussion. In particular, we're very fortunate we've had the federal state governments provide some funding, and there was some requests from councillors on clarity. We get asked every day by residents where things are at. So we've asked the council organisation to update our advocacy page with the most up-to-date information, and that has been done. And there's some discussion, and I'll go through some of them, if I can, about, for instance, Mount Crosby, about what was that preferred design. And I'm just reading from the TMR page, it's on our advocacy here, but the proposal for Mount Crosby interchange is actually twofold. So it talks about, and I'm reading from the TMR website, it's a minor upgrade on Mount Crosby Road as needed to accommodate the increase in demand, and the Mount Crosby Road Bridge will remain in its current form. But there'll also be a new interchange at the location of the future Moggle Pocket arterial, connected to Mount Crosby Road via a service road to the south. Based on community feedback, further investigations ongoing at the proposed northern service. So the new dual-lane bridge providing an alternate connection to Carolee with connection via a signalised intersection on Junction Road. And they also talk about the fact that the southern service road will have active transport paths. We're very fortunate the state and the federal governments have both committed 50-50, and that's a total of $277 million, so $138.5 million from the Australian government and the Queensland government have been in their budgets. So we're quite fortunate. When we look at what's next, and I'm reading, and Council's updated this, The Mount Crosby Road interchange, TMR has commenced detailed design taking into account community consultation, feedback and technical financial considerations. TMR was required to complete an additional ecological survey under the Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act beyond what was initially planned, and the feds are more than, they're entitled to ask that, and are currently working through these requirements to ensure that the project meets those federal regulations. These unanticipated EPPC requirements and the associated ecological assessments have been extended the finalisation of the design by about 18 months. So at this stage, TMR will say that they'll be able to fulfil those requirements by the state government around mid-2026. So just wanted to clarify that, because that sort of bounced around in advocacies, that's where it's at. But if I can get people to go to that council's website for advocacy, it gives an update on the Bremer River Bridge. The second bridge crossing, which again we've received bipartisan funding during the state government election, which is fantastic. We're still, I think I spoke to the CEO earlier this week, still going through that funding agreement process. There's some toing and froing on that at the moment. So the state government promised the $4 million for the last business case. That $4 million was in the budget that was handed down in June, and now we're trying to access that. So that's where that is at. We've had the discussion, I guess, on the North Ipswich Reserve. But yeah, what was probably the main thing that councils are wanting to make sure that website is up to date, so council have undertaken to do that. So that way we can sort of refer people to it. The other thing that we discussed at that advisory committee was how did Rockhampton be successful from coming out of nowhere to hosting an Olympic medal event, with the rowing there. So we discussed some of the information that had been shared with us on how that occurred. We also talked about a new advocacy plan and how we do this. We're putting in place a 3-year strategy chair designed to raise Ipswich's profile and to secure investment and to build partnerships. We're looking at a proposed annual Ipswich Summit to bring all levels of government together and to centralise communication to strengthen our advocacy with all 3 levels of government. We're hoping that will ensure that we are more successful in getting funding. We work together. We also reviewed progress on our Ipswich 2032 Legacy Roadmap, which came out in, I think, 2 years ago, and leveraging in 2032. And probably disappointing for our community, but we missed out on some major new infrastructure that we saw some of our neighbours get with the games. But I guess on a positive note, it has had that confirmation that Brighton Homes Arena is continuing to be a games venue, and that we'll continue to be a host city as well. Another item, Chair, is that we're finalising venues for our team attraction brochure. And can I say, council officers have done a great job, but also it was really great to see councillors as well were contributing venues, and they have been looked at as well. So that's been, I think, a real team approach when we're looking at that team attraction there. And finally, we discussed some locally significant projects around our city, each with strong community backing. We looked at do we add flood resilience for John Street and Rosewood, traffic lights for the Tivoli Sports Complex, upgrades at the Redbank Plains Rec Reserve and Caledonian Park, and improvements to the Redbank Plains bus station. So that was some of the, prioritised projects that will go through its normal council process. Thank you very much to everyone who's involved on that Advocacy Advisory Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Madden?
Yep, thanks, Chair. Yes, I attended the meeting. I was very pleased to see the agenda. There was all of the items I strongly support, but of course the items in Division 4 sort of attract my central attention. And I was very pleased to see the mention of the 3 projects at Carolee, which is the repairs to the Bremer River Bridge, or the, as they say on their TMR website, strengthening of the Bremer River Bridge. The second was Mount Crosby Road interchange, which is damaged because a truck hit it, and also the new completely new interchange that goes under various names, the Moggill Arterial Road interchange, the Carolee interchange, or the Ray Road interchange. And really the number one thing with regard to that I'd love to see is the final design for the Mount Crosby Road interchange and the Moggill Arterial Road interchange. And there was extensive community consultation about this, must be 2 or 3 years ago now, where 2 designs were put forward. And it was at the end of that consultation, it said that both the design for the Mount Crosby Road interchange and the design for the Carolee Moggle Arteria Road interchange. The final designs would be released, I think, probably last year. So I'd very much look forward to the time when Department of Transport and Main Roads release the final designs for both those projects. Notwithstanding that we don't really know when the work's going to happen. It's a little bit like the Amberley interchange. I just wish that the state government would release the final design. Forget about talking about funding and when it's going to be built. Just show us what is going to be built. But two other projects that Division 4 projects that I was particularly interested in was the Caledonian Park, where we're seeking to remove an antiquated, out of date, every word you can think of, bad toilet, and replace it with a flushable toilet. But simultaneously with that, and probably we didn't deal with it in the advocacy committee, but will be dealt with regard to the budget, is a master plan for Caledonian Park. You can't really say you're going to build a new toilet until you work out what's going to be required over the next 20 years in the park, and that'll determine the site of the new toilet. The other thing that I was very interested to hear mentioned was John Street, Rosewood, and myself and Councillor Martin and the Mayor met with some members of the Chamber of Commerce for that area about their concerns with regard to John Street. And part of it did involve what you might call floodproofing, which is really just more stormwater pipes, but also involve things like, potting baskets on the footpath, which are almost unique to Rosewood and CBD of Ipswich. So we covered a lot of territory, but just getting back to the Advocacy Advisory Committee, everything the committee does in the agenda has my 100% support, no question about it. I see the committee is able to move those issues forward, and you've got to keep tapping at the glass. And that's what the committee's doing. So congratulate the members of the committee on their good work, and fully support all their work.
Thank you, Councillor Madden.
If I could,
Mayor?
through Chair, Councillor Madden raised the Amberley interchange, and it was recently discussed at the Willowbank Area Residents Group meeting as well, and it's also updated on our council website. So we received a $200 million election commitment from the local federal member to upgrade there. And at the moment, the Australian and Queensland governments have jointly committed $20 million on an 80-20 basis for detailed planning on the Cunningham Highway, which will be also, there's a business case also to look at that intersection for the Ipswich Rosewood Road, Ripley Road and Swanbank Road interchanges. They were all announced last year. And where it's at the moment is that the Queensland government through the TMR is progressing the detailed planning for the Cunningham Highway and Ipswich Rosewood Road intersection. So that planning and business case for the design is still being underway. The member for Senate Room gave an update at the Willowbank Area Residents Group meeting that it's very hard. They've got to finish that before they'll release the designs, and then obviously looking at the funding for that as well. At the moment, we don't know how much that's going to cost, but they're still undergoing that process with the federal government as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other comments? No, I thought the meeting was quite robust, and we finally, as Councillor Madden said, we're starting to get on that train to have direction. I know, Mayor, you said about a summit, but I think I 100% support it. But I think advocacy is everyone's responsibility, and you just have to pick your time where you're either advocating or keeping elected representatives to account on different things. So I think that's an all the time venture that we have to take part in. But I do think we're on a good pathway with the advocacy. If there's no other comments, I'll put that report to the vote. All those in favour? And yep, that's unanimous and carried. Thank you. So now we move on to item 6, which is the Nicholas Street Precinct, October 25, Nicholas Street Precinct Project Control Group. Do we have any questions for the relevant officer? Is it, Councillor Antonelli, is it anything to do with the confidential bits of...
No, it's just the content of the actual report.
All right. Okay, great. If we can have...
I may have questions thereafter. That
all right. And then we'll deal with it then. So we'll have the relevant officer up. Please.
Good afternoon, Chair, Mayor, Councillors. James Hepburn, Precinct Director, Nicholas Street.
Councillor Antonelli?
Thank you, James. Just in relation to, if you've got the report in front of you, page 65, which just has the financial resource implications. I'm just going through, just to remind me, if you could please, of the table headings there, the difference between current budget, committed contracts variations, forecast contracts and variations, and the forecast final cost, if you could. It's not the typical language that we normally speak. So, so what is the difference specifically in that?
Current budget is the budget we're working to. Committed contracts and variations are essentially money spent or committed to be spent by a contract. And the forecasted contract and variations is essentially the difference, which is unspent capital to date. Some of it is allocated though already to things like incentives to some of the forthcoming leasing deals, or perhaps any works that are currently outstanding in the precinct that we haven't undertaken yet.
So with respect to column 2, committed contracts and variations, is there any of that in there that is actual variations, or?
Oh, yes, there would be. I couldn't tell you
I wouldn't proceed to ask specifics. And obviously the last column is what is to be the expected forecast.
Yes, which, as you'll see, is the same as the current budget.
Yep. I also had some questions just in relation to, with respect to the monthly expenditure table, which is across the page. What are those particular expenditures relate to? And I note that there's one in brackets as well, which normally indicates an expense. The opposite to what the column is. So it's in the negative. So
yeah, I'd have to look into that one. It's quite a small figure myself. If I take the one I know most about, being the past month, be October, and I won't speak too many specifics, but the money in there relates to a number of different incentives across some of the leasing deals that we've done.
So they're the incentives for
across a number, yeah.
All right. So all of those are in the previous months.
No, some are precinct works. Some relate to some outstanding works, things that have been happening within the precinct. I think
there is a large one there in July for 142. I note.
Yep.
Would that be incentives, would it?
Councillor, if I may, I'd like to take that question on notice and come back to you in detail. So I'm conscious there might be some confidential information in some of those numbers that I don't want to go into in particular detail.
Understood. Yeah, I would appreciate that if I could have that before next week's meeting. So also just a final question in relation to this is just with respect to how many leases have we got yet to I'll just nominate the venue at the moment. At the venue itself, how many leases are there left, or spaces, potential leases?
We have essentially 2 spaces left. So we have upstairs, which we call T2, which is the tenancy that has a little balcony that faces onto Nicholas Street and internally. And then you won't see it, but there's also highlighted area to be what we slightly grander kiosk, which would sit next door to the Hoyt's video screen.
So both of them are on the top floor, is that correct?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Was there another space or booth space downstairs we were looking at?
We have one main space downstairs which has come through this committee. We had the lease approved, the tenant has signed, council has actually countersigned, but we haven't released that yet to market.
No, fair enough.
There is a final tiny space in that little gap opposite Vapiano, but it is really quite small, so we haven't actually allowed any budget in terms of forecasting for it, but it would be a nice thing to get away if we could.
Okay. Can you also come back to me with the area of each of those 2 leases upstairs, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's all my questions. I've tried to limit it in scope to the report itself. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Councillor Madden, thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I don't have a question. I just want to thank Mr Turnbull for his tour of the locked off areas that he did last week. No, Mr Hepburn. Sorry, Mr Hepburn.
I was like, was there something?
Yeah, sorry. I was living in the past, walking down at Easy Street and all that stuff. I just wanted to thank you for that tour. It was enlightening, and it's amazing that we have this huge area in the mall that is not being used. And I look forward to planning for how that could be used.
Yeah, we've asked for a report, and yeah, we'll get that to all the councillors as soon as that is available.
I don't say that as a criticism. I say that as an opportunity. And sorry, Mr. Hepburn, for messing up.
No, it's a wonderful opportunity for the whole of the city.
Thanks
Yeah.
again.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Mr. Hepburn? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll move that report. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Doyle. Discussion?
I just note this week it's great to see some of the works on the actual Nicholas Street itself, with some of the paving works underway there, which is, I think, really good to see. We've heard get a clack. It's good to see there. And great to see the enthusiasm that that people have for the tour. I wasn't able to see it. I'll have to come back, but I've heard great things, and I saw your photos on Facebook, Councillor Martin. So yeah, look forward to seeing Metro A.
Oh, you've never been in there, Mayor?
Oh, not since
not
becoming mayor.
recently.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Except for pre-poll areas.
That doesn't count. Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I went through Metro A couple of years ago prior to pre-poll opening, just to do that walkthrough to see what we needed to do to be able to activate the space to bring the voters into Nicholas Street. I noticed there's been a number of discussions today and comments. Just encourage and urge councillors, if they'd like to get up to speed with information, it's within the portal. Everyone has access to that, and I don't think anyone's really accessed that to date, is my understanding. So it would be helpful because certainly the work that's been done over the last 5 years, all the information's there, including plans, the work we did with Queensland Treasury, and what the plan was around Metro A. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Harding?
My apologies, I've just reached into my memory bank. I haven't been to Metro A this term. I did go last term. Apologies.
All good. Thank you. Well, I do note that the visitation reach in the precinct hit 326,000 for October 25, which is an increase, obviously, from 2024 of the same period, the same month, by 161%. So the growth in visitation can be attributed to multiple new tenancies. I know I've gone to Vapiano's and kicking in quite a bit. So, so I think the targeted marketing campaign is working. And I do have to thank Mr. Hepburn and his team. They do work quite hard to, or have in previously and still will work hard to bring the precinct alive. So thank you very much for always being there and trying to make the Nicholas Street precinct vibrant. So thank you. Oh, yes, Councillor Martin.
Can I ask through the chair, you brought up visitations. How do we actually record visitations? How do we determine how many people actually come in?
You've asked this before, and council officers have said it in briefings, but we've had workshops where this has been asked multiple times. So I think if we just ask the council officer, may I suggest to you how they.
So what's the answer then?
We'll get a council officer to come back up again who can answer that question. Or have they left? No? I can't see. Oh, thank you, Mr. Hepburn. Is it Mr. Hepburn or is it Carly? I don't think. Yeah, can't see Carly.
James Hepburn.
Thanks, Mr. Hepburn. So you heard the question. So how do we actually measure visitation?
So there's a company by name of Cahora Tech. There we go. We have counters placed on every single entry and exit point to the precinct. So essentially that takes us, if I think about the perimeter, we come along down Bell Street, we cover off Union, we encompass the car park, and then we essentially come up to the point where we have around Ellenborough, along Brisbane. So the only bit that we don't control, where people come in, or not control is the wrong word, where we count visitations, is Cribbenfoot Lane, because there's essentially a service yard that comes down, and then it's an alley and a laneway that comes through. But I think at that point there's really minimal movement in that space anyway in terms of visitations. So Cahora Tech counters, they count one person leaving and one person arriving. So that we always say visitations. So because some person could go away and they could come back in, that's 2 visits. But for us, that's a good thing, because whatever it is, it's brought them back again. So that's more dwell time, more visitation, more spend.
So I was going to ask that. So if I go up to the top of town, come back and go up 2 or 3 times a day, I'd be counted as 6 visitations coming and going?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, thanks for that clarity. Thank you. And sorry if you have answered that question before. I certainly don't remember getting an answer.
There's
before.
been some
Thank you.
literature in the past which we can happily reshare. It's not a
So
problem.
to use that example that David just gave, if he goes up and down 3 times, or any employee within the CBD goes up and down 6 times, for instance, you say it gets counted as 3 times. So it's not necessarily, what was the figure given? 300,000 individual,
326.
no,
326,000.
26 individual visitations.
It is. It is visitations. They may be the same person, but that means someone has to make 2 or 3 individual trips. So there is no other way of counting it, unless you're going to perhaps buy mobile phone data and assume everyone has a mobile phone. This technology picks up people who, from children to buggies to adults. So it's industry-wide in terms of shopping centres, most other major cities around the world.
Chair,
Thank you. Yes, Councillor
just one.
Madden?
What was the name of that company?
Cahora Tech. I might not have pronounced it appropriately.
Oh, okay.
Cahora.
Could you give me the first letter?
C.
COHERA, through the chair.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you, Councillor Madden. There's no other questions. Thank you, Mr Hepburn.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, Chair. While we're talking about visitations, I thought, a figure that obviously that is important to remember is no matter how you count it, 10 years ago we were getting 22,000 people a year coming through the Nicholas Street precinct, and now we're getting 2.2 million. I just think the fact that, what's been invested here, what is happening here, the tenants that we have here, certainly the last 12 months, Hoyt's General Public have driven a lot of that, and Hotel Commonwealth. I just think this is what I think the goal was when it was purchased, was to reinvigorate the Nicholas Street precinct, and that's what's happening. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you.
Just to clarify with you, Mayor, were we using the same counters at the time?
Through the Chair, I don't know if the exact same counters are being used. Councillor Antonelli?
I don't believe we are, so,
But
all the locations and that. So I'm just saying, we do need to be careful. We're comparing apples with apples. That's all I'm saying.
I think
but there's
the,
no denying that attendances have gone up. That's for sure.
I think the technology that we potentially are using would be,
well, we don't know.
yeah, but we do. The report does say that more accurate recording of visitation. So they are very, yeah.
Just read the information, please.
So I think the main thing is the quantum, a huge increase in visitations is obvious when you walk outside.
I think what we're interested in, if I may, through the chair,
Yep.
can we get a breakdown as to the time of days these movements are? Is there
So what
anything
sort
wrong
of-
with asking that question?
So, I'm just trying to clarify, say at what's the peak times, or is that what you're looking for?
Oh, I'm looking just for breakdowns, just normal hours of the day, working hours, night hours. Break it up into 4-hour blocks if you like.
So you're looking for, say, at 3 to 6, how many come through
Yeah.
at?
We're just getting a figure. If we're really to examine and want this precinct to work, we need to have that breakdown to understand what periods of times we need to be working on to improve. I'm not asking the question to be argumentative. I'm asking the question, specifically to find out what works and what doesn't work and
All right, we'll
what we
take-
need to do to improve.
All right, we'll take that on notice and
Thank
we'll
you.
come back to you on it. Is that okay? Yep. All right, if there's no more discussion, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour of adopting that? That's unanimous and carried. Noting that Deputy Mayor John Ink's no longer in the room. Thank you, and move on to notices of motions, which there's nil. No matters arising. General business, anyone got any general business? No. What is the time? 1:26. Well, we'll close the meeting at 1:26 and the next meeting in 10 minutes' time, Councillor Madden? 1:36, yep. Thank you, everyone.